All right, so let's jump into this. My name is Vince. I want to welcome you to another presentation of Novedge's Best of the Best webinar series. We're really excited today not only to be presenting Vectorworks designer, but to have Kevin Lee Allen on board presenting for us. Before we jump into things, I just want to give a little background on Kevin in case any of you are unfamiliar. He is an Emmy award-winning scenic and lighting designer who works in theater, film, television, themed architecture, exhibits, and special events. Additionally, he's the author of Getting Started Guide to Vectorworks Spotlight 2011, and his work is available, or you can see his work at his website, www.klad.com. Kevin's going to speak for about the next 40 minutes or so. During that time, everyone will be in listen-only mode, but please feel free to shoot your questions into the question box. We will be recording this webinar, and it will be made available to everyone, so if you have to leave early for whatever reason, I'll give you complete details as soon as we're done on where you can find it. Having said all that, though, I want to turn over to Kevin as soon as possible so we can jump into this. Kevin, are you there?
I'm here.
I'm going to switch the screen to you and let you take it from here.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay. I'm going to start with a couple of renderings and then go to the model of this project. Hopefully I can get that out of the way so I can see my own screen. I like to talk about the different ways to use the entire Vectorworks Designer package. Most often in entertainment design we focus on Spotlight and or the Renderworks package, and 99% of the renderings that I do are always in final quality Renderworks. I very seldom use fast Renderworks, and I almost never use OpenGL because I like the more photographic representation of what I can create for presentation and testing using final quality Renderworks. So this is a corporate exhibit. It uses a number of features. This is a final lighting rendering. And you can see there are gobos. I think there are some of the Roscoe dichroic gobos which disperse the color nicely. There's certainly a lot of color involved in the overall look and feel here. The wall makes use of a number of features that are really only available, I think, in the architect module. So I'm going to discuss those a little bit further, but the step wall to the right, I think, is an architect feature. I'm using a wall recess to insert this backlit image, and there's an end detail over here, and the whole piece makes use of the wall styles, which can be quite powerful as a design tool. First, I want to talk about the evolution of the lighting here. This is an early view. None of the textures have changed. You can see the lighting is quite dramatically different. It's a lot plainer. In this case, I used the Vectorworks Directional Light tool. And here's just a slightly different variation on the same using a different directional tool. And a third. The color here has shifted. I think that in this rendering the color is more yellow or blue. And then I did another pass here using the Vectorworks Spotlight tool, not to be confused with the Spotlight lighting devices. I like these tools and instruments a lot just because it's a quick way to get some visualization done without having to have developed the entire lighting plot before you present the project. So this is the model of this project. And there's a lot of lights, and they're all mostly turned on. But I'm going to add some other layers. This adds some of the directional lights, which if I select, oh wait, I have to be in the right layer. If I select, you see they look like a globe. They're effectively Little suns. Where they're placed in terms of elevation doesn't really matter. You can see that they're on different angles, but their elevation doesn't matter. I can also adjust the color of these lights by selecting and going into the object information palette and picking a color. This would obviously totally change the way that the rendering works. Similarly, I can go over here to the attributes palette, and I can, depending on how picky I want to be at this point, I can pick, for instance, any Roscoe color and put it in there. I can also, from the attributes palette, access any of the color palettes that come with Vectorworks. So in addition to Roscoe, if I wanted to add the immediate access to the Lee or the GAM, the Goboman or Apollo colors, I could do that. I also usually have, because I do sets and lights, the Benjamin Moore line in here. And again, through the attributes palette, I can then decide if I wanted to give this light a Lee color, or for no good reason, I can even assign a paint color to the light. Just want to go through these layers a little bit. You can see here that the second layer of directional lights, I started to experiment with some color. The third layer of directional lights, I looked at a different palette. Now, to do these experiments, to do these renderings, they take a minute or two each. To do the rendering with the Spotlight lighting devices, it takes a little bit longer, not terribly longer, and I can also do considerably more. I can't shuttercut with these devices. I can't add gobos. I can't really adjust with real world intensity. I can certainly adjust intensity, but these are great ways to do quick color studies for a project before you get into the project and want to invest the time in adding the Spotlight lighting devices and work out that particular part of the project. Now here, this is these are all the lighting devices are available in the visualization palette using the light tool. I'm not really going to put a light here, but it allows me possibly to insert a choice of light. In this case, the point light. I can adjust the intensity. I can adjust the fall off of the light to cancel that. But there are several options here. The first is the directional light, which we just looked at. Second is the point light, which I didn't insert. These are like putting a bare light bulb in the middle of the world, in the middle of the world or in the middle of the room. They just throw light everywhere. They can be useful for backlighting things. They do create lots and lots and lots of shadows and reflections, so they are sometimes a little tricky to work with. The spotlights, to me, are the workhorse for this kind of design development. And that's what I've used here. And I can also do custom lights. You can import IES files. You can make actual lamps using these. If I go into one of the Spotlight lighting devices, I have to be in the light plot to do that. If I go to Edit Light, you'll see that actually there is a lighting tool object built into each of the Spotlight lighting devices. I'm going to go back to the Spotlights. If I click one, I can make all kinds of adjustments to this in the object information panel, including here setting the brightness to 200% or even more. I don't think that's great if I'm working on a light plot and I want to render a cue the way that it's really going to look based on the light that's going to be on stage or in a an exhibit environment. On the other hand, when I'm roughing things out and I need to figure out how many foot candles I need or lumens, I can go beyond what seems logical or intuitive. Similarly, and I'm not really going to get into making textures today, but a lot of times when I make a bump map for a texture, or if I'm using a glow texture, I will set the brightness of that texture sometimes well beyond 100%. Sometimes a bump map I like at 1,000% or more. But I can adjust here the spread or the beam, which in theater we tend to refer to as beam and field. And that's the area of the light where you get essentially full intensity, and the area of light where it drops off to about 50%. I can adjust the height. Really, I can. I can adjust the height of the lighting instrument numerically. I can also adjust the height that it looks to, and I can swivel it all around. I like these lights because they give me just a quick way to visualize and get a sense of what the light is going to look like. And I'm going to jump to another file quickly. I can also, using the object information palette, adjust the focus or the quality of the beam of light that Spotlight is emitting. Let me just check my preferences here. I'm going to display the light objects always for our purposes. I always have that turned off. I want to be able to select them so that you can see that here I have the beam and the spread both set to 20 degrees, so I get that hard edge. And this can be very useful in painting with light or color in a rendering. Here I have it set to 20 degrees and 10 degrees, which if I wanted to have a couple of different lights on this object and have those lights blend. Come on. Just going to change the color of this one now to a light blue, a lavender. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, you get the kind of full blending mode, and you get nice soft edges. Now I think I might like to soften that up more if I was really after that kind of color painting. But it's just a little trick, and like I said, I think for entertainment design, this is a really good way to visualize lighting. Let's go back to the file that we were just looking at. I'm going to go back to my preferences real quick and turn those lights off in case I want to re-render something here. But I want to talk a little bit about how I made this this wall. And actually, I don't know how quickly this will render. I'm just going to give it a quick shot, see if it cooks up pretty quickly. If it's taking too long, I'll bag it. But the back of this wall is all a solid burled elm repeating texture. That's pretty much what I wanted to show here. The front has several features. It's got something like a velour on it. I think it's got some of the same wood. I can show everything a little bit easier here. Front of the wall has a Duratran image, which is created by using a glow or a backlit texture. It's got a solid blue metallic, and it has the burled elm. The way these are created is using the wall, just the simple wall tools available in the Architect module. One of these out here, this one's kind of blank. So we'll get rid of these pieces. And if I'm going to select the round wall tool first. And I've done the math. I've laid this out. I've roughed everything together. I know what I'm going to do. I've sketched this basically in Vectorworks because I use Vectorworks as a design tool. So I've thought this through. I know how big things should be. I'm going to grab the wall style curved wall, and I'm going to draw in that style. I'm just going to snap to these points. And I'm going to grab the straight wall tool. There we go. 5 feet, 135 degrees. And I've added that wall. I'm going to go over here and change my style to the left wall. And I'm going to come off here, and I want this to be 3 feet. And I want it to be minus 135 degrees. And then I just have to snap to put that wall in place. It's like I may have it backwards. And I want to have caps on there. So if I look at this, I have walls at 3 different heights. And that allows me to do that sweeping curved wall. I just have to go to the reshape tool, grab one end, snap it down to the height of this right wall, and now I have a really dramatic curved wall. Go back to the front view. But I want to step this wall, so I'm going to go to the Spotlight menu, Architectural Tools, and I'm going to create a stepped wall. Now I've set this up already. I've done the math. I know that I want this to be up, but I can also do the same thing on the bottom of the wall if I wanted to fit it around something. I don't. So I'm just going to add that, and I'm just going to render real quick. And you see that I have, oops. Once again, I think I have this wall seems to be backwards. But so let's just take a look at the wall styles. Wall styles, the the application comes with a ton of them. So if you're modeling a theater or performance space or some kind of a venue, there may be a style that already exists where you can draw in the concrete block or the 2x4 stud wall or the steel stud wall that you need to represent whatever is existing. And what I've done here is I've used the component feature. So I have a class called wall back, I have a class called wall front, and I have a class called applique. And there is, I can either assign classes to it and use a class texture. But in this case, down from the top of the wall, 5 feet. So this is going onto an 8-foot wall. The bottom 3 feet of the wall would be covered in this turquoise fabric, and that is a 1/2 inch thick. Similarly, if I was doing, I don't know that I would do a Victorian interior using these methods, but I would certainly do an office interior, or in this case the trade show, or certain abstract spaces. I can apply things to the walls. I could turn this into a wainscoting if I wanted to, if I had the right texture imported. The front of the wall is using a class texture, and so we'll go take a look at that in a second. And the back of the wall is also using a class texture. So let's take a look at that. So, oh, Vectorworks, don't fail me now. If I go to wall front, you'll see I have a blue chrome texture assigned and a blue line assigned to indicate that. So this is a great way to create structures and looks quickly and efficiently. I also have here an object that, again, I've drawn. I'm prepared here. It's floating in space. It's a curve. It's probably simple geometry. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back to this wall layout, and I'm going to go to Edit, Paste in Place. And I'm going to select the wall and this object. And I'm going to go to the Spotlight menu. And I'm going to create a wall recess. And I'm going to leave the cutting plane where it is. Click OK. And it's literally not quite, something is not quite right here that I did, but nonetheless you can see that I now have a recess in that wall where I can put the back that I think I actually meant to not this wall goes down too far. So if I raise this up a little bit and have another step here, well, it won't let me. I may have to undo to go back to this. But I'm not going to sweat it. Actually, I will. Before I do wall resets, I'm going to go back to the plan to do the recess. All right, well, this is obviously acting up. And I may need to go back and redraw it, but that does happen from time to time. See if I can paste that back in place. I got the right thing. Now I have my hole. And I also have the Duratrans, so we'll just look at this real quick. See that it's got the wood back there. And again, I've placed this in space so that I know where it goes. And if I paste it in place and render, I should get the finished look that I'm after. There's also another tool. Just going to get rid of all this stuff. If I just draw an unstyled wall, which I could also choose to draw in the isometric view. Draw an unstyled wall. Get rid of that. Just going to go back to the plan. Wall to be unstyled. That has picked up that style, but that isn't going to matter necessarily to my point here is I can, just as I do the recess, I can do a projection. I can add something onto a wall. So select these two, go to Spotlight, Architectural, Create Wall Projection. I'm going to set this 2 feet down from the wall. And then when I look at it in the isometric view, and render it, I just have a cube showing through. Now I can also apply styles to that, and I can, add bump outs and, sculpt myself kind of an interesting space using these tools. In the Getting Started Guide to Spotlight 2010, 11, and 12, we render a theater set, and we do a couple of things here that use tools that you just saw. One is there's a wall with a series of wall recesses in it, and you'll notice that the texture wraps around. We also wrap this graffiti decal on everything. We also use the curved wall tool to make this, sculpt this curved ramp, just in the way that I showed you the changing the height with the reshape tool. This would be kind of a challenging thing to model without that tool. Also, since as you can see here, I like the dichroic filters, and I've used it on this kind of untextured column. That's just an illustration here of how to use other features in the program. I wanted to show this rendering for a corporate event that makes a lot of use of gobos, dichroic color, regular color, and lights. And I will say that this did take quite a while to render, but I worked up the design using Vectorworks Spotlight Lighting devices. The other thing that I think is kind of cool here, and I'm just going to zoom in because I don't have time to cover it, but the create plot and model view in Spotlight allows you to stand up vertical lighting positions and turn on the beams of light from those instruments so you get an actual representation of what the light from the side light. Let's go back to Vectorworks. So a lot of what I like to do is about using the tools that are available in the suite for non-traditional purposes. And let me go to the Vectorworks first, because that's always the pretty part. For me, it's always about the rendering. The better the presentation I can do, the more excited I can get the client. This runway, the end of this runway, is a fairly complicated inlaid floor with tile and marble and a couple of different colors of marble and pattern. And of course, it changed, got somewhat simple. We looked at an even simpler version. But this is a challenging piece to model. There's a lot to cut, push, pull, change. So I used the, do I even have it here? I'm not going to go into the, here's the landmark toolkit. I use the hardscape tool. The hardscape tool works like a lot of the other drawing objects, just as if you were to draw a polyline. You have kind of the same tools that you can use the U key to move between, but you can draw kind of any shape that you might need with the hardscape tool. The other thing that you can do is take any two-dimensional standard drawing tool and you can either go to the Modify, Objects from Polyline command and choose Hardscape, among other things. Or you can right-click on an object and go to Objects from Polyline and select Hardscape. This allows this allows a couple of advantages, and I've just exaggerated everything here. I've brought in some textures, and I've brought in some hatches for illustration. But this gives you a hybrid object, and it allows you to have your own graphic style. So if you really wanted to show, in this case I've really exaggerated the parquet floor, I can have a two-dimensional representation of the parquet floor, like I might have the two-dimensional representation of a lighting instrument in a light plot. I can also have three-dimensional representation. And again, there's no light in here. I'm just quickly rendering. All of these pieces have little gold borders around them, little metallic gold borders before you get to the wood that's inlaid. So let's just take a quick look at how we get from point A to point B. So I'm going to make this into a hardscape. I'm going to click OK. And I'm just going to use, for the moment, the eyedropper tool, and I'm going to pick up that, come over here, press the Option key to get the bucket. I hate it when it doesn't do what I want it to do. Notice set all attributes by class. So this now has a little gold border, which you can see, and it has the parquet floor. And that gold metallic would show up beautifully once I put some light on it. In the plan view, I can also do a traditional flip. And then I can take the eyedropper again, and I'll grab that parquet border, click there. I'm going to go ahead and go to the attributes palette and make all attributes by class. But why is it not that up? Oh, because I haven't made this piece into a hardscape. I clicked with it, but I haven't made it into a hardscape. And with the attribute, with the eyedropper, I have my settings set to simply plug in parameters. Now I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to pour it there, and go back to the rendering. And again, I'm having this I'm having really great coming through here today. Just nudge it up a little bit. Now I've got it selected. And if I go to the hardscape settings, everything is by class. And 1-inch stick. Nothing is perfect. Oh, there we go. Sometimes it just takes a little kick to get things to work properly. I want to do one more thing here. Just going to go to, do I have another layer here? I'll make a new layer. Draw a quick rectangle and go through this process in a different way. I'm going to make this into a hardscape. And I'm going to go to the hardscape settings, and I'm going to add a border, make it a little bit bigger, around. In the joint pattern, I can add a hatch, and just grab whatever comes up. Same thing here. Put a flagstone pattern in, even though it doesn't matter. I am going to use one of my hardscape classes for the main area, and I'm going to put the parquet there, and I need to set it to be a 3D object. It will default to 8 inches, but because it's a landscape thing, and I'm going to set the main texture and the border texture to by class. It does do some funky stuff sometimes. There we go. Maybe there is no black marble in here. Anyway, I just wanted to quickly make that and show essentially how easy it is. It does obviously need to be kicked now and again to work. And then I want to do one more little thing, and then I think I'll be running out of time. This is a dumb thing, but it's a nice little 2D symbol, 3D symbol that's made out of 2D objects. It's an NC, something we all need, something we need in sections, it's something we need in plans. If you build a model of the theater in 3D, you could have to add things like this as an annotation kind of constantly. My little symbol here allows you to place one thing and one thing only and kind of be done. I'm going to make sure that I'm drawing in the layer plane, not the screen plane. And I'm going to start with having a 12-inch circle. And I want the center at 3 foot 9 inches. Okay. Move that up to 45 inches. That's considered the standard height of a person. And then I'm going to, the height of a person's eyes, I should say. I'm going to duplicate that in place. And I'm going to fill it black. Zoom in so this is a little easier. I'm going to clip away some corners. And I'm going to add a line. Just going to follow this the old-fashioned way. Give this some thickness so I can be sure to see it. And I'm going to set it to 54 inches. About 16. give it some thickness. Switch it back. And essentially I have the flat part of the symbol. I'm going to copy this stuff for use later. I'm going to go into the plan. I'm going to select the rotate tool, duplicate and rotate 90 degrees. And now I have that three-dimensional symbol made out of two-dimensional objects. Select all, modify, create symbol. I'll leave it at symbol 1. I'm going to leave it in place. There it is. And if I get it to 2D component, just going to rotate my little guy here and copy him. Oops. When I rotated this guy, I had rotated copy in place. That wasn't good. But now I have a central symbol. I think that's all I have, and I think that's my time. So I hope that shows people some things.
No, Kevin, that was great. I think if we have any questions, we'll get to those right now. So if anyone's out there, feel free to shoot them into the question box. Since there aren't any right now, I don't know if you wanted to touch on one last thing.
I don't really have anything else prepared. I don't see any.
Here, actually, there's one from David. He's asking, what is the palette in the top left of your screen?
That is part of the interior CAD detailing add-on application for cabinetry. It's almost worth the price of admission right there.
I see.
Interior, that's a great add-on if you're doing, a ton of kitchen cabinets, a ton of museum exhibits, got a cosmetic store. It just really helps to simply and quickly model and detail all the mechanics of millwork. And the one thing that I keep around all the time when I'm not doing that kind of work is this little navigation palette, which I could no longer live without.
I see. Let's get to another one. This one's from Marcus. He's asking, how do you create a custom light using an IES file?
Well, I don't have an IES file. And I would have to go to the internet to get one. So pretty much it's as simple as importing the file here, I believe. And it's been a while since I did it, so I'd have to actually look it up. or entering data. I don't have a quick answer for that question.
That's fine.
Not something I do on a regular basis, and I have to always look it up.
Yeah, no, don't worry about that. Let's get to what Troy. He was asking, do you ever do walkthroughs or walk or fly-throughs during presentations to clients?
I have been asked for that kind of thing from time to time. I have done some relatively simple ones in Vectorworks. I also really recommend Julian Carr's plugin Animation Works for that, where I have done fly-throughs and flies around and fully realistic rendering of several things. There's on his website. There's a movie I did of a sign for the Chase Bank in Times Square. That was done with that plugin. But that allows you to move things. You could actually animate scenery moving if you wanted to. Lights coming on and off. It's pretty impressive. It doesn't work with the Spotlight lighting devices. It does work with the Vectorworks lighting tool. Actually, he has his own specific lights.
That's excellent. So it looks like we don't have any other questions coming in. Actually, here's one from Grant. Let's get to this one real quick. He's asking me, do you ever combine SketchUp with Vectorworks?
I will sometimes go and grab a model from the 3D warehouse and use it if I need a piece of furniture or something, but I'm not particularly a big SketchUp fan. What I usually end up doing is getting the model, sizing it, and redrawing it in Vectorworks, using the model sort of as a trace object.
I see. So I think we'll call the Q&A here. I'm going to switch the screen back over to me, and I'm going to give a brief little send-off to everyone.
Okay.
So, again, I'd like to thank Kevin for doing that presentation. Truly tremendous stuff. I'm sure everyone out there found it as fascinating as I did. Also, I'd like to thank everyone for attending another presentation of Novedge's Best of the Best webinar series. If you're unfamiliar with this here at Novedge, we're the leading online design software superstore. Not only do we have the best prices around, but our staff is extremely awesome and incredibly knowledgeable. Feel free to call, chat with us at any time. We'd love to hear from you guys, give us some feedback. As mentioned, we do have Vectorworks Designer available through our store. There is a best price guarantee on this, so if anyone's interested in getting 2012, definitely don't hesitate to contact us. Our Vectorworks sales rep is Bob there. His email's on the screen there, bob@novedge.com. He'd love to hear from you guys. Additionally, if you enjoyed the presentation, you may be interested in Kevin Lee Allen's book, Entertainment and Lighting Design with Vectorworks Spotlight. We have this book. We also have a best price guarantee on this. It's a tremendous guide to help you through Spotlight and Renderworks. It's really a great tutorial and resource for all Vectorworks users. Additionally, I would definitely recommend anyone who's interested in Kevin's designs to head over to his website, klad.com. Additionally, you can follow him on Twitter. He's a great guy on Twitter. I've been tweeting with him there here lately. So definitely don't hesitate. If you need more information, feel free to visit either of those two resources. As mentioned, we advertised this webinar. All attendees will get $400 off the webinar, or $400 off Vectorworks Designer. We'll send you an email if you're interested in using that coupon later on. And the last thing I want to bring your attention to before we sign off here is an online community we've created here at Novedge called Vectorworks. It's a great place for all Vectorworks users to come and collaborate and network with other users. We have tons of free training, tutorials, events, blog posts. This webinar will be made available there, so if anyone's interested in viewing it again, head over. It's free to join, easy to sign up. You can watch this webinar as many times as you want. So having said all that, I just want to thank everyone again. Kevin, do you have anything you want to add real quick before we sign off?
I just want to thank everyone for coming, and I hope that I was able to show everyone something, new or different, or a different way to think.
Yes, absolutely. So, again, we'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you.